What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Ample Fourth today. Fourth. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. It is the 7th of April. Yesterday, the 6th, on Sunday, you had a very phenomenal close to your week, didn't you? A little bit neutral, double-ended sword there on a green note, right? What is that? 6% to the upside. Weekly RSI looking fine at this area that you found support before. I will say, you found support in this area, you went up. You found support in this area, you went up. You found support here, and you went up. You kind of maneuvered a little bit, but essentially you went up right away. Here you're finding support, and you're not really doing that, right? You're kind of lagging. And I would say, insanity, right, is defined. A lot of people like to say this. I like to say this. Insanity is defined as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, on that note of insanity, would it not be completely sane to think that if you're doing something different than what you've done before, you might get different results, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that that'll happen. Of course, we could recover. Who knows? But I would think that different behavior begets different results. That's kind of a point that I like to drive home on. If we're looking here on the weekly RSI, I would think that we continue to go higher. I do believe that while this was a nice kind of day, it's not going to result in anything that's immediately lasting to the upside. I would expect that with Bitcoin and the rest of crypto over the coming days here, you probably do return down to your lows, or maybe not to your lows itself, but something that's at a lower price from here. You are, after all, down 7% on the day. Bitcoin is not even down a full percent on the day. I mean, Onyx coin likes to drop a lot, and it's down about half as much, not even half as much as Fourth is. So, you've moved up a lot. You've got a lot to give back. In other words, it's kind of my thoughts. If we're looking at this from a relative low to a relative high, I think, being here at about 241, you could find support somewhere around 234 to 224, somewhere in that area. You could, because it's your golden ratio zone, the white zone. But don't get your feelings hurt if you do break through that on the first attempt and if you go lower. In fact, I'm curious, is that your first attempt? Let's see. It's not your first attempt. No, it's not. So you probably do break through it. Yeah, look at that, right? It just all happened yesterday. So yeah, you've hit your golden ratio, found resistance. Albeit, man, a little bit above the 382. That's a nice look. I suppose if you prevent yourself from closing below $2.34 on a 4-hour period. If you go down there but you don't close down there, if you can close above it, there's hope that you don't do anything of what I'm saying. But my direct assumption would be that this next move will take you probably today or tomorrow. Over the coming days, you'll be down at about $2.13 to $2, and you very well could see prices below $1.88. That doesn't mean that you will. It's very possible, and in fact, you're probably more likely than most coins right now, being at the current setup that you have, to have found your low already. But I wouldn't count on it, right? Don't hold your breath, and don't get your feelings hurt if you don't, right? You might do something where you start to drop rather fast and then slowly bleed down. You get that last little day where you see a slightly lower low, and then that's it. And then you recover, and you've got this weird kind of Adam and Eve look, double bottom. Look it up, Adam and Eve. It could be the setup for that, or perhaps it's something different. But I mean, I suppose at the lowest, let's just see what you would do. Bitcoin's not even anticipated to drop 10% from here. I don't think you're going to drop another 30%, man. So I would guess that if this isn't your low, you're going to see some kind of fake out low where it's just a little bit lower than that. But I'd be rather surprised if you did that. I mean, let's look. What would that be? 22. If Bitcoin drops 8%, this thing pumped a lot. So yeah, it could drop 22. I wouldn't put it past dropping even a little bit below this low, right? But again, $1.61, I don't think so. $1.62, no. Anything lower than that, no. It can happen. It can definitely happen. But let's see, on that note, let's just look and see where this is here at that low there. We go back in time, kind of just below all this area. Hey, look at that right there, right? Perfect pinpoint. What is that? Is that your all-time low? Beautiful, bro. Beautiful. Long phase of accumulation. Absolutely marvelous phase of accumulation. You just hit your, yeah, that's nice, man. I bet that's what you do. You probably come back down and you find support around, but not below $2. But below 220 maybe. But I think above $2 is what you're gonna do. I feel pretty damn confident about that. But if you find a slightly lower low, don't be concerned. That's totally fine. You could see technically new all-time lows with this next move, but nothing dramatic. Let's see. What else do we want to say here? No. Daily RSI does have higher highs with lower highs. That is, Hidden bearish divergence, my friends. Nothing to get excited of or about. Let's see. 4-hour time frame here. Overbought. Now you're not. Potentially 40 minutes left in this 4-hour candle, and I do suspect you're going to continue to drop from here. So probably not a good look, or probably calls for at least something that would be, again, around $2.20 to $2, something in that area. And if you go lower, don't get your feelings hurt. It's fine. Yeah, I think you're going lower. In time, fourth will recover. Absolutely it will. Let's just see what its market cap is here, and let's see if we can determine an appropriate move to measure from. What was that? Dude, that's a lot of volume. I don't know, man. That's some crazy volume. But sometimes you get these crazy amounts of volume. I don't know, man. I might have to get some fourth. That's a lot of volume at these lows, guys. I don't know. That's kind of interesting. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Don't just let my excitement dictate anything. Do your own research. Figure out what this thing does before you put money into it, right? The way I like to say it is, if you can't walk down the street and engage with a stranger and someone's asking, yeah, so what's the new thing that you're doing? What are you excited about these days? Well, I just invested in a coin called Fourth, which I doubt any of you would do. But just in this hypothetical situation, if something like that were to happen, if you can't explain to that stranger what it is when they're like, oh, it's a cryptocurrency, what does it do? If you're like, I don't know, man, I heard this guy on YouTube talk about it and it pumped really hard one day, so I got into it. If that's your answer, you shouldn't invest in this. You should only invest in it if you're aware of what it does, right? You need that conviction, and also it's so that you can make the best decisions for yourself, right? Do your own research, all that kind of stuff. In time, I do think Fourth will recover. Getting away from that, right? Fully diluted valuations, essentially what the valuation is now, circulating supply, blah, 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 all that stuff. I want to look, let's see, all log, make sure that the supply isn't diluting. Yes, it's not diluting. Interesting. Tokens have burned. That's awesome. That's kind of interesting. Right? Because it's not that significant. You wouldn't really notice it. But from here, from this low to the low where the price is now, doesn't the market cap look a little bit lower? Doesn't it look a little bit lower? The only way that you get that is with token burns. Being at this low market cap, that's a lot of volume that came in there, you guys. I don't know. We might have a winner here. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I'm seriously considering putting some money in Fourth. I've had my eye on it for a while, and I think I even did have money in it at one point, but we got out of it because it was a little bit boring. But Fourth is a pretty interesting project. You should definitely look into it if you're curious to invest in this thing. Inevitably, I'm sorry, guys, talking about the all-time high here, 34.5 million. Yeah, this thing could see. The reason why I'm jacked on it, the reason why it has me jacked, I should say, is that a 100x from here would be about a $3.5 billion market cap, $3.4 billion market cap. And that, while that is high, don't get me wrong, guys, 100x, I don't care what market cap you're at to what market cap you grow. That's a fantastic feat in itself to achieve. But the coins that see not just 100x's, but multi-100x's, cycle after cycle, we've seen this happen. They start at these kind of phases, right? They start at these levels in market cap valuation, and they come from low areas with interest and at least some decent liquidity, but low liquidity too. Does Fourth? Is it on all these? It's on Coinbase and Binance, so it's already on exchanges. It's not going to have any kind of major catalyst there as far as exchange listings go, but that's okay. You don't need that, man. This cycle, exchange listings have been pretty weird compared to how they normally are. They're not as predictable, and that's fine. Getting away, or getting back, I should say, to the main point here, I think that we could see not just a 100x, but a multi-100x. New all-time highs would call for about 112x to potentially a 400x, you guys. I'm not kidding. I think this thing could. It doesn't mean that it has to be. Again, who knows how high it goes. Maybe it only goes to $60 and you only get a 25x. Boo-hoo. That's not that bad, right? That's actually about average, so that's really not that bad. But I doubt it. I bet that you do see new all-time highs. This looks like a lot of accumulation, and this all-time low relative area that you found support at might be a testament to that in itself. We'll see how it goes. But I wouldn't be surprised if you did see not just a 112x, but potentially something as high as like a 400x. That, what would it be? 3.5 billion? 3.5 billion, yeah. That's a 100x. 3.5 times 4 would be $14 billion. I mean, the reality of it is, guys, and nobody wants to hear this, but it could go higher. It could even go higher than that. I mean, yeah, when you look for a coin that's absolutely ludicrous that could see a 1000x potential, this coin has that potential. But understand what that means. Just because I say it has that potential doesn't mean that it will. And before I go any further, I want to be very clear. I don't believe it sees a 1000x. I think you're going to have a hell of a time seeing a 100x, even let alone prices up as high as like a 400x, 440x, whatever that number is at the 1618 at $1,000. But if you were to see a 1000x, it still gives you a, that wouldn't even put you at $50 billion, I don't think. Right? Yeah, no, that'd put you at 35 billion. Basically 35 billion. And not financial advice, not a financial advisor, what do I know? But that's not really asking for the world when it comes to cryptocurrencies or potential like that, right? We saw Shiba Inu, a meme coin, a wannabe Dogecoin last cycle at $80 billion, and it started from a market cap that I'm pretty sure was about this low, if not lower. I feel like we might have had more time in the cycle. I don't know. And if this thing would have to have a lot of catalysts going for it, right? Shiba Inu had a massive amount of popularity. There was, all these coins got given to Vitalik Buterin, so everybody knew about it. And then he just burned them, which actually helped the coins, helped Shiba grow, because that massive of a burn did nothing but allow the project to gain some value, and that was a good publicity stunt too. So I mean, if there's some good publicity, if this thing gets its word out there and gains a lot of popularity and becomes a very major player in the space, yes, it is possible that it could see a 1000x. Is that going to happen? I mean, 99.9% of the coins that exist only wish that would happen to them, and it doesn't happen. But it does happen here and there, right? Caspa had a 1000x this cycle. It can happen. But is this that coin? I don't think so, and I wouldn't hold my breath over it. So while we are talking about this a lot, let's just wrap this up here. I mean, yes, a multi-$1,000 price is possible. I'll give it to you. I wouldn't bet against it because I'm not entirely sure of how much potential this thing has, but I definitely wouldn't bet on it. As far as a 400x goes, 422x, same thing. I wouldn't bet on it, but I sure as hell wouldn't bet against it because this is actually a very real possibility. And I'm not betting on it. Again, I wouldn't bet on it, but I would not bet against it. This is a very real possibility. And if I had to bet on anything, I think I would bet on the fact that not only do you see a 100x, but something that is greater than 100x by the end of the cycle with this thing. We've kept our eye on this for a while. I don't make videos on it all the time, but Ampleforth is something that's caught my eye and seems a little bit interesting. We'll see how it goes with this thing. All in all, I do think that today, over the past 24 hours, was a testament to the interest and the strength of this thing. We'll see how it goes. If not, maybe by the end of this drop with Bitcoin, maybe you'll show your true colors and they'll be bright red. I don't know, but time will tell. So hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Again, at the end of the day, I do think that you'll return back to these low areas. Do you go a little bit lower? Do you find a slightly higher low? Whatever. I wouldn't be worried about it either way, but it's probably going to happen, I would think, in the next week, and maybe at the very, very least over the next 3 or 4 days. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.